Oh, snap.
Oh,
You wild children of the corn, you crazy bastards, you beautiful people. It's another edition of Geektastic Sci-Fi here on Free X Agents Media. If you guys are also watching us on Twitch, we truly appreciate you. As we've been saying for the longest time, people can always check us out on Twitch as well. That's twitch.tv/Geektastic Sci-Fi. And if you don't know how the name is spelt yet, where have you been?
straight up.
What have you been doing? We got a wonderful guest here with us this week. Skinny, would you do the honors of introducing?
This week, y'all, we have a very, very special person. In our, not our spaceship. What do we call this? We call this our.
Well, remember when you guys first came to my new spot before the pandemic? We called it the Hall of Justice.
I'm down with that shit.
So our newest member to the Hall of Justice, we have WGA screenwriter, an HU graduate, host of For All Nerds, or co-host of one half of For All Nerds, and the voice of the urban geek, DJ, author, Mr. DJBenhameen. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Very happy to have you, sir.
We should get the soundbite, Skinny. You're right. I should. That would have needed the applause. My
clap,
bad.
right? Exactly.
You've been saying for a minute we need it, and that's my bad because he said it. DJ, that's on me, not on him, because homie did say we're gonna have guests that deserve it, and you're gonna need it. And my ass was just like, man, I don't want to be out here clicking the buttons, tappy tap. But no, true. Say, applause, y'all.
Thank you.
How you
We
been,
improvise
man?
here.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's how we doing on our show too. So
Exactly. My man. So how you been? Like, what's been good? For those who don't know, For All Nerds started off as Fan Bros. It's a great podcast. It's, as they say, it's the voice of the urban geek. So me being quite urban and listening from Quebec a few years back, I think 2015, 2016, that's when I got caught on. The show really just kind of puts everything into a good perspective while also keeping those who are probably too cool for school informed, and also those who are kind of like the Blerd, the geeks on the side who also listen to hip hop. It kind of makes you feel like it's one and the same. It's a great experience. I need to ask you, what made the name, like what made you guys change the name other than for inclusiveness? And the side pods you do. Say if a major show comes out, you guys will do like views from the 616. You'll do a Game of Thrones based pod. You'll do something on like the Eternals or a What If podcast. First, time. Secondly, how? You know what I mean? Like, do tell your secrets. Give them all away.
all right, that was a couple. I'll try and answer those in order. Fan bro, I'm DJBenhameen. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody out there. And I'm one of the hosts of what was formerly known as Fan Bros Show, and it's now For All Nerds. And in our theme song, it was always saying For All Nerds, FANBROS, For All Nerds. And so that has always been a part of our thing. And it was one of those things where we were battling against people saying, oh, this show is Fan Bros, so it's just about bros. And my co-host is Tatiana King, and has been there since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, I think the 5th or 6th episode, she joined the show and has been there since. So it was just one of those things that felt right. And for me, it's like, I wouldn't say it's opened up more doors, even though it has, but it just feels better to me. Like I feel better being able to tell people, oh, my show is For All Nerds. Right there, got you. It's like
100%.
Yeah, everybody understands what that is right away. It's For All Nerds. And we do a lot of different shows. We definitely do. We have our For All Nerds show normally, which is every Thursday, and then we've had Views from the 616, which cover Marvel, pretty much anything in the MCU that comes out. We did all the Disney Plus shows, plus reviews of every movie since we started, which was with the first Disney Plus show. We did Game of Thrones Castle Black. We did Lovecraft Country, the Safe Negro Pod. Shout out to that. That was one of my favorite endeavors that we've ever done. Safe Negro Pod and Lovecraft
Safe
Country.
That
Which
was
is
good, yeah.
that was a beautiful experience and just great fun doing that. And yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly feel like I can always be doing more. That's me.
But
okay, 5 shows is like I could do 10.
Yeah, it's not even that I could do 10. It's like that I could be writing more, I could be doing this more, I could be doing something else. You know, I just always feel like I could be doing more, but I'm also very big on not being one of those people who's like, yo, I don't sleep, I work. Because fuck that, yo. I love sleeping.
Yo, facts.
You know,
Amazing.
We need sleep. Yeah.
and I hate that ideal of like, I see it a lot with writers, especially where they're like, yo, I gotta, you know, if I'm not writing 15 pages a day and if I'm not dying for this work, then I'm like, yo, B, I don't, shit ain't that serious to me, fam. Like, TV show get made or don't get made, you know, hey, you know, it's like, I like writing. I love it, you know, so that's why I do it. But I'm not going to sit there and kill myself over any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, that
Big
is
facts.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think one of the most important takeaways from it on what you're saying is you didn't say it specifically, but I feel like if you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that you're interested in continuing to do more and more is because you genuinely love it, and you never feel the need to slow down, which is all praise, man. That's dope.
And I've always tried to do that, like, you know. I tell people that's like I've been trying to figure out how to tweet this. Is like, especially for writers, again, I'm talking about, and it pretty much applies to all creatives. You shouldn't really make the money off of the things you love, but I've pretty much always made money off of things I love, you know. So it's a gift and a curse, I guess, because I DJ, you know, and I love DJing, and so, but that allows me now, because I DJ, it allows me to write and not worry about what if I have a project being done or not. And that's been a big help, you know, and just having that, I don't want to say safety net, but having other opportunities, always looking for other opportunities instead of just putting all my eggs in one basket. And I think that's probably what creatives should really take, because that's, you know, it's scary if you just, you know, only got one thing going.
Yeah. Like I know some people who definitely get into the field and start focusing so narrowly on something, and they're just like, I'm going to make this one thing work. And I'm not mad at them for focusing on the thing that they love, but I feel like you said, all the eggs in one basket makes me mad nervous. Like, you know, I have my day job and I happen to be lucky enough. I also work in music. I program music for commercial spaces.
Nice.
You know? And like I don't love doing it every day, because it's one of those things where, you know, be careful what you wish for. Like, I always want to work in music, and now working in music, it's this process of like listening and analyzing music and not experiencing music. But it's fun. Like, you know, end of the day, I can't complain, you know? So, and then what we do here on Geektastic and the Free X Agents Media as a collective, this is fun. This is the fun part, you know. Doing the show weekly kept me sane during the pandemic.
Oh,
100%.
yeah. Yeah, definitely podcasting is, but I just want to say, podcasting for me especially is like, I think having Tatiana as a partner really helps like that. It's just, that's the best part of my week usually, you know, like.
Yeah, you guys bounce off each other really, really well. That's what I noticed, like the chemistry, and just like y'all joke like y'all are brothers and sisters a lot. And like, and I'll even admit this. So like, I was listening to your show, and I think it was around the same time we started doing this show in 2016. So every week I would come in and I would start doing like Skin Deep, aka this, aka like, you know, that, right? Okay. So then, but so it was these guys I got that from, because they'd have the 1,000,002 AKAs. And I think one time Tatiana turned around and said Bando Calrissian, and I'm almost like, nah, I need to borrow that for a second, because there's no Canadians that's ever heard that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that on mine. So I came through one episode and I said, AKA Bando Calrissian, and Brian looked at me. He's like, "Where'd you get that? Where's that from?"
And it was so funny. It's funny you brought that up. I was just listening to that episode the other day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, these guys inspired me to kind of like, when we were doing Geektastic, it was like, all right, we're doing the Geek Show. It's fun. We're covering our topics, but then with For All Nerds at the beginning, what they brought was just that, like, not like a hood aspect, but like you kind of just had that, like, it was a little bit gutter, but it wasn't like they weren't afraid to be like who they were. They weren't afraid to be like, yeah, we're into this geek shit. We're about this life. We're gonna turn around and make something like Lando Calrissian sound hard as fuck and call it band. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know. I just really kind of appreciate what you guys have been doing, and it kind of inspired me to kind of be a better podcaster. What I want to ask you now is, after DJing, and then so you were DJing, and then I heard you DJ on the Combat Jack show. Rest in peace. And then from there, you guys started doing your own thing, and then you were DJing, but then you started writing, and then, or you probably always been writing, but then I guess you got a prominent role in writing, and then the world is yours happens. Tell me about when did that kind of come to you, saying, all right, now we're gonna do this. Like, now's the time to do this book.
It's a wild story. Let's just say I wrote a poem at one point, in a very trying time in my life, to put the short story on that. And I wrote this poem, and I wrote it for my nephew and my nieces, my sister's kids. And I was like, I needed to give them something that I felt would inspire them in life. And so I wrote it for them, and they were very young at the time. And then I posted the poem on Facebook, and one of my friends from Howard University, Marcus Eileen, he's an artist, just an incredible, incredible artist. Like, the art you see in the children's book is just one thing he can do. He's just one of the most talented people I've ever known in my life.
Right.
And he saw the poem. He was like, yo, this is perfect. Let's do a children's book.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, I always wanted to have a children's book, and why not? And so we, researched and found out how to get it published, and we did a first printing of it, and that's what I have here. And we've been selling it ever since. And it's been like, that's just been another incredible thing to me, because it's just like I've had people tell me, yo, this is my kid's favorite book, and I'm like, oh shit, like that's wild. And so
right?
yeah, like, it's that's the thing. I think throughout life I've just always been like, kind of fuck it, for most things. It's like, when opportunities come to me, I'll just be like, all right, let's see what happens.
Right.
And so that's how a lot of things happen for me. And it's always like, it's like Combat Jack was the same thing. It was like, I always wanted to be a part of something like that, like the Sway and Tech, or like Bobito and Stretch. And like, I grew up in Houston, we had this thing, Kids Jam, and things like that I just always want as a DJ. I was like, that'd be so crazy. And I knew Combat through the internet and through blogging and stuff. And he started the show, and one day I think I texted him or tweeted him like, yo, you need a DJ? And he was like, yeah, come through.
Oh, that's how that happened? I thought y'all knew each other from time.
No, I'd known Combat. Actually, the funniest thing, I knew him because I was running a blog, pleasedon'tstare.com. And
he had the other blog at the time. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, but yeah.
And I used to post this stuff, but one time I posted this, I was at the inauguration party, and I got video of Jay and Jeezy doing My President is Black. And I was like right behind them, and I posted that shit on my blog, and it was, blew the fuck up. Bill Riley took it and used it on his show. And so Combat hit me like, yo, let's sue Bill O'Reilly.
Oh shit. Yes.
Straight up, and that was when I first really got cool with him. And we tried to sue Bill O'Reilly, but you can't really, because of journalist stuff. Woo-woo. But we got cooled in, and I'd keep posting this stuff. And then when he started the show, but we used to tell the story on the show all the time. I used to like ghost him when I'd come to New York. I'd come to New York, and he'd be like, yo, let's hang out. I'm like, I don't know you like that, dog. And that's kind of the person I am in general, Yeah. And so I was like, I'm over here with my boys, dog. We don't need no new cats around here. So but when he started the show, I was in New York by that time. I moved up here, and I was like, yo, it's good, like, you need a DJ. And he was like, yeah, why not? Come through. And so that's literally, and that was the first time I'd met him in person, the first time I went to the studio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Easy. Wow.
Yeah. Dallas, all of them. That was the first time. I knew Dallas through the internet, but that was the first time I'd ever seen either of them in person. And I walked into there, we did the show, and I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever done. And I knew it was to be something stupid, if we could just keep it going.
And it did get pretty stupid, and you spun off into where you are right now with loudspeakers and all that. I mean,
it got pretty stupid. Yeah,
shit got wild, man. Shit got wild. For real, wow.
Shit happened. Yeah.
God damn, that's
Yeah.
really, really great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, awesome. I gotta ask you though. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the like beginnings, utter madness of DJing on like the early Combat Jack show, or do you prefer like For All Nerds? Like, because the energy was different, but it's also very similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you get, you know what I mean? Like with you and Tatiana, and then like when I was listening Chico Leo, and then you kind of add into back when you have.
Thank you for mentioning Chico, because that's my fucking brother. Like,
Shout out to Chico, man.
I love that man. Like,
awesome.
That's a genius. Like, yeah.
Quite the genius. And then you have the previous energy was like Dallas, Combat, yourself, like Just Blaze every now and then.
Yeah,
like,
Premium,
Pete,
A King, Matt Raz,
right?
Yeah, wild.
Pure fucking chaos.
Y'all were wilding. So I mean, what did you that? And in terms of energy, like what do you prefer?
Either or both, you know, it's like different things. It's like, you know, they're just different, you know, like Combat was like my first. I've been interviewing people. That's a lot of people don't know about me. I've interviewed rappers and stuff. I even have footage of a lot of it. I'm putting a lot of it together now since I was like, a kid, early teens, you know, so
dope.
Yeah, it's like that type of stuff, meeting rappers and stuff wasn't something that I was like, oh, you know, it's more like, okay, you know, and even some of them I brought on the show because I'd known some of them from before, you know, like Guru I've known since Howard, you know, and I've known a lot of cats like that just around, you know, whatever. So it was, but that was my first exposure to doing this shit, you know, like sitting here talking on a mic and just talking. And I learned so much on Combat, and it was just such a growing experience. And it was so like, you know, it was fucking chaotic. It was like, we don't do live on For All Nerds normally. You know, I'll go live on Twitch and stuff like that, but we're not really live a show anymore. So that early stuff when we were live was insane. You know, like it was 12 at night on a Wednesday night. We start the show at midnight. You know, it was insanity. So
yeah, that
was just something. You know, I'm grateful for both in different ways. I can't really. It's like they say, you know, like choosing a child. You know, I don't even have kids, but it'd be like, yeah, no, that's like. They're both so important to me. Like all those people we just named are just like, you know.
Plus, it all feeds into everything that you became, right? Like every experience, you know, that's one of the things that I've always appreciated about just, you know, admiring all these people that did it before me. Just seeing them, like seeing how they operate and wanting to emulate that or learn from it, you know?
No, it's like you know, Combat being like, yo, I'm gonna start this show, and I think the first name was, what was it? Boom Bap Biff. It was something that was terrible. I was like, oh, all right, we'll figure it out, you know. And
we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later.
Then, you know, we started the show, and then like when he sang that theme song, you know, the original Fan Bros theme song, when he's singing on it, and it was just like, and it's, you know, it's like all these things, it's just like you said, it's like progression, and it was all like where I was at that time in life, you know, doing the Combat Jack show and being on the air and him being like, yo, Ben, so let's talk about this, you know, and I'm like, I don't even want to talk about that. Well, we're live on there right now. You're going to talk about that, you know, and that was such an experience. And, you know, I like Combat Jack, you know, rest in peace, is like, you know, for anyone who knows, like, you know, the hat is right there behind me, you know, at all times. It's like, I can't thank him. I can't thank everyone around. I can't thank everyone who listened. You know, it was life-changing. And like you said, everything, I wouldn't be a WGA writer if not for Combat Jack, you know, straight up. Because it was like that led to For All Nerds, which led to me meeting Brian Fuller, which led to me being on American Gods, and dum 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 dum.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, that's
simply as that, but you know,
simply as that. Just little, you know, just American God, little flex. It's all good. It's all good.
I mean, but you know, but then it's like I also DJ weddings right now. You know, it's like let's keep it a buck. Like, you know, that's what I mean. True. Just because you're on TV don't mean, or writing or doing anything don't mean that life, you know, bills ain't got to be paid and shit. And
yeah.
Hollywood is one of them things where it's an interesting place. I love it, but it's interesting. It's a business.
No, actually, say that again, because a lot of people I feel need to know that like just because you reach that, say, pivotal point where you think you need to be. It doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, you're done. You could shed this job, you could shed all that and just kind of focus straightly. Like, I like that you actually said that bills still need to be paid, because it makes, like, for us, I mean, sure, I do the toy collecting shit and I do the podcast stuff, but like, I'm a sysadmin by day. So, you know, like, I still got to do that IT stuff, but I don't feel so bad about it because I know that there's a lot of people out there doing the same kind of thing, but just not necessarily mentioning it like that.
Yeah. And I've been trying to, like I said earlier, I was trying to figure out how to tweet this outrage, because I'm like, it's something that I had to deal like hard with. You know, I was in LA, I'm like popping things going on the show, you know, and then it's like things change up, and I'm still got projects where I'm working on this and that, but it's like I'm not on a show where I'm getting that weekly check, you know, where it's like the stupid, you know, where you're like, wow, this is a lot of dough to be writing, you know,
Something you love,
like this is a big ass check to just yeah.
And so now I'm like, and then I had, you know, some stuff going on in life where I had to move back to New York, so I moved back here. And since then, I've been working on a few things. I got a few things like I can't mention right now that look really good that, you know, could be, you know, another thing like that. But I had to learn, you know, like, don't just quit your day job, you know, like don't put, that's what I'm talking about. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, and that's made it so much better for me, honestly, because when I was at that point where I was like, yo, I got to write this so I can get on this show, so I can get another check, it was the worst writing I'd ever done and the worst feeling I'd ever had. And now I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, I'll go DJ this wedding. And like you were talking about doing the music program, and like DJing and weddings is not my favorite thing in the world to do. You know, it's not, especially even out of DJing, you know, but it's a good check. And now I can come home and for the rest of the week, write whatever I want to write and not have to worry about somebody being like, I don't like that. You know, or maybe you should change this. I'll just write what I like, you know, and then if it gets to the point where somebody else likes it, then that's fine by me. But I'm not like, I'm just writing for myself now, and that feels so much fucking better. And I can do podcasting, which isn't like, you know, we ain't no Joe Budden or shit. We ain't getting no $50 million deal for our show, you know. So it's like I work and then I can do all these other things I love, and that's what's really great right now.
Plus, we don't like to toxically blow up our spot.
That's fair points. Fair points.
Yeah,
Big facts.
Yeah,
like that's one of the things I remember when that whole situation popped off, and you know, based on how Skinny talks about you and your team, I feel similarly with these guys. Like whenever I think about what we're building, I respect these people, and I would work with these people, and I would talk to these people about anything before I would, you know, maybe go on air and start yelling about firing people and stuff. And that's always something I feel like the way you approach podcasting and that community, and that, you know, knowing that the fandom behind it and the followers that we get are people who appreciate us as a team is important, you know. Like we do it for these people. So
yeah, and we've had that, you know, we've had disagreements in the crew. We've had different people who aren't around anymore, and for various reasons, and you know, it's love to all of them. You know, you saw that pause, but like,
fuck them. No.
But no, so I can't say that because there's so many people I haven't even mentioned yet, and like that they might fall. They might like, oh, I'm onto that fuck 'em category. There are a few fuck 'ems, but you know, I can't. You know, it's like not everyone who's not on the show. Like Jamie Rigetti, you know, that's my sister. She was running the original 4 with me, Chico, and Tatiana. You know, that's like that 4 is my, you know, that's to me is still like what I consider the team. You know, like that was like the Fantastic 4 and shit. And now me and Tatiana are still like the dynamic duo or whatever. But that's like, it's like that. Like I don't do things I don't love, you know, like, and I think that's what was one of the things that, you know, I think it was a break moment for me. And this might help anyone who listens, who's like thinking about doing a podcast or whatever. It's like, I realized, especially with Fan Bros, because I've been doing Combat Jack, you know, so I know that's hip hop, right? You know, who doesn't fucking love hip hop? So I can talk about that. But at first, when I was doing For All Nerds Fan Bros, I was like, oh man, this geek shit, I don't really know, you know, like,
right? Yeah.
Were you worried? Were you worried, like branching off and just speaking specifically about that? Like,
yes, super, especially at that time, because like it wasn't, you know, it wasn't
that
a
cool
lot
then?
of shows like that, like us. You know, there was a few, you know, like I think Rodimus was already out there.
Right.
There were some other cats already doing it. I know Afro Nerd Radio was doing it, but one thing that I was really held me back in the beginning was the nerds I knew, even the Blerds I knew at that time, were really like old school type of cats, you know, like they're changing this,
Yeah.
and I was like,
actuallys and gatekeeping a little.
and I had some of that. You know, there was like, if you listen to some early shows, I've changed my opinions on a lot of things. I've grown so much from, you know, what I was.
Yeah.
But that was, I think, what made me start growing right away was when I was like, yo, wait a minute. I don't want to be talking to just these people.
Right? Yo.
You know, like, I don't want to be talking to these dudes who think they know everything.
Facts.
And that's why I brought on Tatiana, because I wanted, and Jamie, because I wanted, you know, women. I wanted to have that energy, you know, and I wanted people to understand there was women out there like this already who knew that shit just like I did.
Yeah.
And so that helped a lot, but it was still a lot of like fear, like where I was like, oh man, I'm DJBenhameen. You know, people want to hear me talk about music and, you know, movies, whatever, but like comics, like nobody really want to hear you talk about comics. But I remember when people started listening and they were like, yo, I don't know anything you're talking about. I don't understand, and you know, I don't know none of that shit. But you sound confident and you know what you're talking about, so it makes me interested. And that made me like, oh, okay, fuck it, just lean in on this shit. You know, like y'all say, just be the blackest nerd I am, be who I really am. Because a lot of the shit, that's what I learned on the show too, that people love is stuff that I would think and would never say because I'm like, oh, that's a little, you know. But now on the show, I'm just like, fuck it, you know, say it. And people, you know, they gravitate to it or they don't, but I'm gonna say it, you know.
Yo, that's honestly everything you just said is exactly. I feel like when we started, one of the main feedback I got from people was you make culture accessible. I always loved hearing that from people, and like I feel like that's the tip you were on too. That whole idea of talking to people, and like you said, it's talking to the people who are on the fringe of nerd culture and want to get in and want to listen to a show and not feel like they're being spoken down to, but being able to be part of the conversation. And I feel like that's how we've always approached it. Cause I love having the conversation with people who might not know as much, because like, you know, Dave, for example, but like when he started talking about how his partner started watching all these superhero stuff, and he would tell us about how much he enjoyed seeing it. Well, Dave, I'll let you say it. You kept saying like from her perspective.
Yeah, well, it's like like it was an interesting thing to see, like, because like we all, like, when we watch stuff, right? Like on average, we know a little bit.
Yeah.
At least 50% of what's happening, in the sense of like we know who Iron Man is, this and that. We're talking about someone who knows nothing. I've created a nerd. I've created a monster, to be quite honest with her, but that's a whole other conversation.
I've done the same.
Same here. The thing with her is like, so like for her, I was watching, what set her off was WandaVision, and then she asked like how things got to this point, and I'm like, or can I watch the next shows? I'm like, well, you're missing out on 20 movies. Like, I don't know how to explain that in 1 minute, you know? Like, we need to be here for days. So, but when she came on and then she started to watch, like, it was good that Iron Man was so good because she gravitated to that quickly, and like it was an easy intro for her because of like the actors and whatnot. But as she was going, it was interesting to see someone's mind completely open up to stuff that she, like, if you would have talked to her about like space, the use of powers, flight, punching someone and then getting up even though they broke a moon, she'd be looking at you like you're a fucking idiot. And now she's like, and then what happened? You know what I mean? So seeing that and it's kind of nice because like I also, like, to get back to Brian's point, I find like the vibe that you're describing is the same vibe as us, and we're kind of like, I take the approach of like, we're the welcome wagon. You know, come. Which symbol do you like on this wall of stuff? You like this one? Come, we'll explain it to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
explain it, but we'll explain it.
And that's great. I'm like, I know that's why, you know, I wanted to be on here, because I can't do that other vibe, you know, like that shit just does nothing for me, and it just I hate it, you know, because I grew up with my mom taking me to the comic book store, you know, and so
same.
Like,
amen.
And my mom always being so happy when Frank, that was the comic book owner, when he finally got a chair that she could just sit down in and chill, you know, while I ran through the comic store, because she didn't mind being there, you know, she liked it. And then like my older sister, you know, is a geek, you know, she's a cool ass, you know, she's way cooler than I'll ever be, and like, but also a geek, you know, she was reading fantasy novels and had comics and had all kind of stuff, and you know, would read my stuff. So I've always been that way. And as far as like women and stuff, and I grew up on shit like Aliens with Ripley, and so it's like I never got that other side of it, and I just was always like, let people know, because it might be their first comic. That's what I always say, like it's just like anyone, everyone has to pick up a comic for the first time, and they might just be a little older than you were. That's all.
Yeah. Facts.
Big
So much
facts.
fun. So much fun. Yo, shout outs to Frank hooking moms up with a seat. But
Nance Games and Comics. That was my spot in Houston. Yeah, Frank.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Should we go into the segment before we get into Harder They Fall? Or
well, we have a quick message. We got a quick message. When we come back from the message, then we can continue the segment if that's cool.
I'm down. Let's go. Because that movie is great and I got a lot of comments to make.
Yes, facts. I have so many things to say about it too. So real quick, we just want to hit you guys up. More information after this clip. Don't go anywhere.
One, please. Okay. All right.
That's dope.
Yo. So don't forget, guys, you saw the dates. 4th and 5th of June 2022 is going to be happening at Le Théâtre. It was Paradox. For some reason, I keep thinking it says Paradome. Paradox. Théâtre Paradox Theater in Montreal, 59 Boulevard Monk, the 4th and 5th of June 2022. Word Burglar, Megaran, Master Sword, Urizen, Double Experience. There's a whole bunch of awesome things that are going to be going on that weekend, so make sure to check it out, shanksevents.com. Guys, we're going to be talking to Devin in a few weeks. He's going to be coming on to discuss more amazing things.
Word. Awesome.
All right, y'all.
Ben, have you been to Montreal yet?
Hell no. I've been trying to get to Canada for a few years now, and because of the especially Toronto, I got some people up there I want to see, but the pandemic, y'all was like, don't come up here, Americans. I understand.
Y'all can't come through.
Yeah, and I fully understand it. So I'm trying to make it soon. And I was actually just texting with Megaran today. He's coming to New York and we're gonna do some stuff soon. So I'm like, yo, I might have to come up for that. That looks dope.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to that lineup. Megaran was one of those artists that when I first discovered, I've always been a Blerd. I just never knew about Blerd music.
Yep.
So that was the thing. Like when I heard some of his tracks and Word Burglar and all those guys, I was just like, oh, there are people who rap about this stuff.
Yes.
You looking up. I remember going on to original hip hop lyric archive and just looking up the word looking at the words Fantastic Four or Hulk just to see all the songs that come up with those lyrics to be like, I just want to listen to all the songs that reference the X-Men, the songs that reference.
Wow.
Yeah,
I only know of the Last Emperor song, Secret Wars. Really, I don't.
Oh no, there's so many.
There's a lot. Man. Yeah,
I'm lost out here. I need to know more about that.
It's like rappers have been since Rapper's Delight, he mentioned Superman and Rapper's Delight. That's that's hip hop. It's always I remember when I got the Only Built for Cuban Links and they had their names listed on the back and Method Man was Johnny Blaze. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Somebody is a geek.
The whole Wu-Tang too, man. That's
they're all of them.
Yeah, I was about to say they're all there.
Yeah. That panel, I remember going to that panel at CMJ New York one year where it was hip hop, kung fu, and comic books, and MF Gruff and a bunch of people from DC came through, and it was just like, I didn't even know there was this panel is me. You know what I mean? Like every year I came to CMJ and I was just like, this is a fun experience. But that panel was just like, oh, this is me for once. And that felt real, you know?
Hell
So,
yeah.
That was dope. Do we dare, guys, though? Speaking of This Is Us, when we look at the screen, there's been some times in our lives where, 310 to Yuma, fun movie, but I didn't see myself. When I was a kid, my dad tried to take me to see Posse. I was under 16 and the theater was just like, no, sir, you cannot take a child to see this movie. And I never got to see Posse as a kid. And now I feel as an adult, I've gotten my generation's Posse. The Harder They Fall. Folks,
That's
let us
a great segue.
Thank you. I thought about it a lot, man. After I watched that movie, I thought about the fact that my dad took me to the Carey Square in Montreal. Y'all know where it's at.
Yep.
Took me to the Carey Square, and I remember him being so sad that we couldn't go in to see Posse. And he was just like, this is a movie I really wanted you to see. And then we ended up having to see Sidekicks with Chuck Norris and some blonde-ass kid doing
Oh my God.
My dad was not happy because he was just like, this, nope.
That's a poor trade. That's a poor trade.
Yeah, it really was. Cultural appropriation or a movie about black cowboys. He did not want to see cultural appropriation.
Straight up. To talk about this movie, well, I mean, this is a little segue really quickly, but I don't know if, someone brought this to me and I want to actually confirm this with you guys. But my boy told me that Sinbad's character in the Cherokee Kid he was essentially playing Cherokee Bill from this flick.
I did not know that, but I know that most of the people on The Harder They Fall are based on real life people.
Yeah. Right.
And loosely is probably about
the best is a keyword.
Wait, keyword there. Yeah.
Wild loose. Man, this movie I could just say it hit me in all the right places because it had that Tarantino style over the topness with the blood, but it wasn't too much. It had it was gritty, but then all the characters are so awesome that I just didn't want anybody to die. Part of me was just like, okay, so they're gonna team up against no offense, Dave, the white man at the end of the movie, right? They're gonna.
I was expecting it. Right? I thought that's the train was about. I thought that was foreshadowing.
Right? So I'm like, okay, they're gonna team up or something. It's gonna be a 4-4 crew and turn into.
I think it was pretty predictable that wasn't gonna be the case though. From the beginning, when what's his name's character? I mean, there's no spoilers at this point. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry. But when Idris Elba's character walks in and pretty much murders the mom and dad, you already knew that.
Yeah,
I didn't think that was going to be the revenge story.
Yeah, I didn't think Nat Love was going to ever forgive his parents being murdered in front of him and his forehead being carved with a cross. I was pretty sure.
And be like, let's team up against the white man. No, I'm going to kill you first, and then I'm going to go after
Wolverine and Sabretooth fight a lot, then kill other people, then go right back to fight.
Right? See, Dave, thank you.
I couldn't do it.
Sabretooth didn't massacre Wolverine's. Well, actually.
His wife? Yes, he did. Yeah. His wife did.
Oh wait,
Doesn't he come around every birthday to fuck with Wolverine?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He killed his son. You guys remember how he killed his son? He drowned him in an inch of water.
Yeah.
He does not care.
Every birthday. That would always made me that. Was
that got me, man.
That's so ridiculous.
You're Sabretooth and you're halfway across the world. You're like, hold on, wait. You're in a box. What day is it? September what? Oh no, I need to find Logan.
Oh my God.
I need to find out where Logan's at.
He's in the middle of a robbery or something. He drops everything he's doing.
Yeah, mark it on the calendar.
He has a healing ability though, right? It's kind of like Wolverine, so he doesn't necessarily die. I mean, Wolverine does kill him for good at one point, but
he's still not dead though.
Yeah, exactly.
I was about to say, who in comic books dies? You know what I mean?
The only people that supposedly back in the days, 2 seconds, and I say this again, speaking not as a gatekeeper, but just because I want to let all our fellow nerds in. The original 3 that were never supposed to come back were Jason Todd, Gwen Stacy, Uncle Ben, and then and Bucky. Those were the 4.
Yeah,
those were the 4 that technically, based on the impact they left on those characters, were never supposed to. And I think Uncle Ben's the only one they haven't technically brought back in
facts.
Out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Isn't Gwen Stacy an alternate reality? Does that count?
Oh, okay.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Jason Todd, Jason Todd and Winter Soldier 100%.
Yeah.
The original Captain Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah,
Marvel.
but
Yeah.
it's only because the idea is these characters affected certain other characters through their hero's journey as to why. So Captain Marvel, maybe
That's
I
Marvel too, because of the whole cancer and how he died. That's why they
True.
won't.
Yeah, that was pretty big. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The death
I
of
think-
Marvel is a
Yeah,
huge part of Marvel. Like,
yeah, that
that's-
affected everyone. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're both right. Yeah. But yeah, man. Yo, back to The Harder They Fall. I gotta say, when you know, I saw that this movie was coming out. You know, I've always been, when I was a kid, I kind of, you know, you always wanted Cowboys versus Indians, and it was a little messy. As we got older, we started to realize, but you still always kind of loved the story and the lore behind it because it was celebrated, right? It's a big thing. It's a big part of the history in America and in Canada, a little bit, but you know, mostly through us, we had a lot of the beaver hunters and the trappers and the outdoorsmen, which are kind of like our cowboys. But it was just watching those cultures and that story being told, and the dream of, you know, just getting a plot of land and building and living, and that selling the idea, and that's part of what the American dream was always about. And then that the fact that was part of, as evil as Rufus might have been, him and Trudy had that dream. And that's something that I didn't expect I was going to like. I almost wanted them to win. I felt bad rooting for Rufus and Trudy because the way they were going about it felt rough. But at the end of the day, what they were trying to do sounded so important. Like, it's something you need, but they're also doing it through.
But that was just good storytelling,
right?
Yeah,
it was a bit misguided. Like the vision was there, but in terms of their approach, I think that's really what separates like someone who's doing it for themselves versus someone who's doing it for others. The idea is there. Like, I want this town to be run and be self-sustained by people who are less fortunate. But then in order to do that, he's also extorting those same people.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like
rough part. Yeah.
Snake eating its tail.
Just a little bit, right? It didn't necessarily jive or necessarily mesh with the ideas that he wanted to really. I got it. I understood it. I just didn't think, you know, unfortunately, it's the downfall.
Yeah. Your favorite line in the movie was from Trudy's speech. And that was I remember feeling like when she said that, when she answered that guy who was kind of like, yo, you can't ask us to find all this money for y'all. Like,
I was gonna put us in the hard, like put us between the rock and the hard place, right?
Yeah.
And that line, I felt like the older women in church, like that. I let out.
Yeah.
It woke up my daughter, and legit, like I was just like, like I felt that because it was like a rock and a hard place is what we call Monday. And I was like, you're damn right.
Yeah,
like, I was like, I ran that back like 4 times because I was like, It was so, that line was so powerful, and I think they knew that. Yeah. When they wrote it, I don't think they just wrote that in there as like any old other line. Like the way Regina delivered that, and it's just kind of like, I guess. Like, what can you say to that?
Yeah.
You know, like, what's your comeback to that? Like, a rock and a hard place is what we call Monday. Like, legit. That's basically almost explaining the entire Black experience. It's just like a sentence if you had to. Just boop right there.
Kind of wild, yeah.
Kind of wild.
And then that scene was so amazing to me. And I was really hoping that when Rufus walked out, he was going to put his hand on that man's shoulder and be like, brother, we can do this together.
Oh, man, he shot him in the chest.
I know.
He just shot him in the chest.
And then that's when it flipped for me, because I was just like, I really wanted to be on your side, Rufus, but I don't know if this is how you win the people over.
But, you know, that was one of the best things that I find about this movie. Like, one thing I'll give this, I mean, there's so many kudos I want to give this movie, but one thing was the writing. Like, the way they made you like a yo-yo, like you go, something happens, you like someone, you take it back. You think this guy's the hero, then he does something not so hero-esque, right? And then it going back, and like you were saying before, Doc, like the fact that you were at one point rooting for the quote unquote bad guy, I just thought it was like amazing writing all around. And the dialogue was ridiculous.
Yeah, there was no real point where I wasn't rooting for both sides. I just wanted to be like, I was kind of like, all right, if it's coming down to this, someone's gonna have to die. So who do I like less on both?
Why? Teams? Okay, why do you think that is? And I think honestly, I felt the opposite. I didn't necessarily root for the bad guys, but as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, I can see how people are gonna root for the bad guys because the actors they cast in the roles. You like those actors, so therefore, them portraying a villain, you don't necessarily see them ever die. You don't ever see them in villain roles ever.
But they're also just doing some badass shit. Like,
yeah,
legit,
I was about to say
when they're on the train and Cherokee Bill, like he doesn't have a gun, but then people move, and then you just see all the arms from out of him point out, and you just literally looks like he has like 6 arms, like Dr. Strange. When I saw that, I was like, that's some beautiful cinematography. Like, fuck out of here. Y'all need to chill out with that kind of shot because
also at that point, I didn't consider them villains. Like that point, at the beginning of the movie, when they stopped the train to go on and get Rufus, my assumption is that Rufus, as a black man, has been put in bad situations and was a villain because he had to be a villain, not because he wanted to rob people. It's later on when I saw him kill that dude that I was just like, oh no, you're not a good person. Like that was when it really hit me. Like, oh shit, no, he's a bad guy. Like he's not doing things for bad reasons. He's actually not a good person.
Ben, they also paint it. Oh, I was just say they also paint that well, like in that scene, because they have the white officers be the corrupt, police, and they're like, oh, we were sent here to dun you off, and we got a whole part, and etc.
Exactly.
And like you were saying, it's also that it's black people, so you're not going to root against black people no matter what. It's like the Killmonger thing, like it's he presents a good enough argument, and he's black, and it's Michael B. Jordan, so it's like F it, like fuck it, and
maybe we should give all these spears to all the black people around the world.
But I wasn't rooting for them at all. Like, I thought Lakeith really did a fantastic job, and we sold it, but I was like, this dude's evil, Cherokee is pretty evil from the gate. I just felt that, and I thought that's why I really love Lakeith, but I was like, no, this dude needs to die. And I knew he was just shoot my man's early,
Man, and all that. He was a snake.
And when he did that shit, that's when I finally turned. I'm like, oh, you just gonna be shooting.
Oh, see, I knew he was to do that shit, so it wasn't a surprise to me. I was like, this dude just shoot you idiot.
I knew that kid. We all knew that kid was, he was done. The way he was talking, you can't act like that enough. You can't
Western movie.
You can't expect honesty. What's the word I'm looking for? Integrity. Honor. You can't expect honor. Right?
Yeah.
You can't.
There's no honor amongst thieves.
Yeah, you're gonna shoot him in the cheek, out the head. God damn.
Yeah.
That was yeah.
But that was also because the what's his name? The guy was being so cocky for so long. At that point, it's like, shut up, like
like shooting him before the count's done is a snake's move.
But that count was also
slow,
so I understand.
Yeah, and this guy's an idiot. Like, I would have shot him too. Like, fuck out of here. Like, he straight up told him it's not about being who's quickest, dog. It's who's alive and who's dead. And this idiot still wanted to roll on that bullshit. They was all looking at him crazy. What's his name? Jonathan's looking at him like, yo, dude, you about to get shot. And he got shot.
It's like he's like making love to his gun before.
Yeah, he's like looking away from dude.
Yeah, like
the moment you take your eyes off me, I'm shooting you, fam. Like, what are you?
Yeah, like that's just because you're calling out the disrespect at that point. Because if you're in this situation and you're not at least looking at me while you're talking to me, like fuck that. You're
out of here. I'm shooting.
Like your split second of blink, I'm gonna take advantage and it's over. That's it.
It's an active battlefield. I don't know what you think is going on here, but like people are dying, bro.
One of us is gonna be dead here, and it ain't gonna be me, bro.
You know what? To be devil's out of it. Yeah, we're the only ones.
I feel like you and I are the only two that were just like, out of honor, I would have liked to see who's actually faster. Because I feel
we all knew Cherokee wasn't that fast. There was nothing that indicated to that point that Cherokee was fast with the gun at all. He was just smarter and quicker to do it than you were. That's it.
He just didn't care to shoot you in the back or whatnot.
Sheesh, he's the fastest because he's the smartest. That's basically it.
Exactly.
And that goes back to like my favorite Western, Unforgiven.
Ooh.
Like that's my favorite joint to this day. And it's like because it breaks all that shit down, like all that bullshit about this one man can kill a bunch of people. None of that can happen. Gunfights are usually people being scared, and just whoever manages to walk away is what matters.
Yeah. What is it? What do they say? The history is written by the victors, right? So Cherokee probably, even if he didn't mean to, someone else at his side was probably just running stories about him, and it's just like, fine, I'll just let them run. I don't care.
Yeah,
run with it.
It scares people away.
Yeah, that's fair.
When a reputation is built on fear and you don't even have to do anything to fuel it and benefit from it, why not?
I mean, they did things to fuel it. Like when the guy was going to see the N-word and Trudy just shot him before he finished.
That was my favorite.
Bill was like, Bill was like, he might have could have said nincompoop.
Nincompoop.
And she's like, we ain't no nincompoop. I was like, oh,
That was my favorite line, honestly. That was it for me. She said, anyone start with the word, they're going to get the same fate. I was like, okay, I'm here for this movie. I'm good. Yeah, let's go.
One part that got me is when they named the town. I remember I was just like, they said the name of the town, and in my head I was just like, it's a white town, and then they literally say that's a white town. I'm like, okay, I died of laughter then. So then when they show it,
white,
the
whole town was white.
They painted the whole town white. Like I was like, you guys are nuts. The sand's white, all the buildings are white. Y'all gonna put the white town in parentheses. This like that kind of comedy that was just like it was that kind of comedy that I was thinking, okay, there's no way that they're going to turn around and just shoot Jim in the face, and they shot Jim in the face.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
That balance of like we can be tongue in cheek in some scenes and full on just murder someone in the next.
Yeah,
is very interesting because it's not easy to write a movie like that where you can walk the line between those two styles.
It kept you on your toes.
Everything. Yeah, the directing, everything, with the music choices.
Yeah.
And like I know, like I said, because I know Guru and he worked on that. So he'd been telling me about some of the stuff they were doing for months now. And he was like, yo, we're gonna have this dub sound with the Western guitars that from all the classic Westerns and stuff. So I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, make sure you listen to this shit with your speakers up. So then when I'm sitting there at home and I'm like, as soon as it starts, I hear that dub come in. I'm like, oh, okay. I get what y'all doing. And then like he was telling me how like the subtleness of it, like because it's like there's a Lauren track, there's Jay in it, but it's just in the background. It's not like here's our Lauren moment, And that's what I loved. And I think like me and my partner, one of my writing friends, we were talking about it, and we feel like the ending, like that whole twist. I don't, it's kind of debatable,
Okay.
But
I thought.
It's also like that karate movie silliness of like, you killed my brother, and it's
legit.
like
it was silly in part.
Yes.
Right? This movie, like let's not kid ourselves. There were definitely campy moments.
Yes.
Right. Which is also bringing to the point of you bringing that up is that like, how did we feel about Nat Love overall? And
I like
that character.
I loved him.
I love Nat as a character.
I loved him.
Great.
Yeah.
And I think I loved Stagecoach Mary even more because she was just like, Nat, you are not smart enough to pull any of the shit you think you're pulling over us. Like every time you thought Nat was like, I'm the slickest gun in the West, and Stagecoach Mary would be like, nigga, you ain't. I knew it. and I just cracked up when she showed up, when Reeves took him out of the thing and was just like undoing his cuffs. And they showed up around the bend, and they're just like, we knew exactly what you were doing. Why did you think that was going to fool anyone? I was dying of laughter because that was
They actually, the way it was directed, the viewer, I knew immediately it was a ruse. So the way it was filmed, it was like, oh, the characters probably know as well. It was very well done in the sense that like you also felt part of that crew.
Yeah,
you were looking on with him. Interacting with the sheriff or the marshal. I have a love-hate relationship with Nat Love because I felt like he made a lot of stupid decisions.
Agreed.
Yeah. You have to blow up.
I think Stagecoach made some stupid decisions too, though. Like,
100%. He definitely got a few people killed.
Her whole crew.
Man, when Mary went in and they're just like, bitch, we know who you are.
Yeah, I did not. That whole scene, when I rewatched it last night, I was like, she really, because the first time I watched it, I was like, this is pretty stupid. And the second time I watched it, I'm like, damn, she's stupid. Like,
and even more stupid, she left Trudy alive.
Yeah. What'd you do that for? Like, if you're gonna go and bat someone across the face with a shovel and then scream at her,
more.
Right? Like, at least go in and just thump her on the head a few times. And make sure she's got
use the sharp end. I mean, anyway,
that fight was way too intense for you to just cuff her in the face with a shovel and just be like,
yeah.
Like,
we need some hope for a sequel, like.
Of course,
as we saw.
So
that's the thing. But I definitely agree. I mean, well, like we said, a lot of stupid mistakes were made. Like this whole sequel is going to be based solely on the fact that you didn't do your job. You didn't make sure you know, in the when, you know, we've said this, I think we've said it on the podcast, we've talked about it, like it's not that you want to, but when it comes to a life or death situation, sometimes you got to make a decision like it's me or you. And that was like watching Mary, I was just like, oh Mary, I love your kind heart, but girl, Trudy is going to come for you one day if you don't put her in the ground. Like,
especially if she turns around and then her man's dead.
Yeah, man's dead, Trudy's dead. Everyone she respects.
Money's gone, whole town burn up, and like,
yeah,
come on, man.
It's like, crazy. It's like studying for a test and killing the first 60% and going out the last 40. I'm walking out. I'm done. I'm done. You know,
I got this.
And just not finishing the test. It's like, what's the point of studying this whole time?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Just hoping that shit go well,
right? Like, I respected the directors for them not killing Reeves. Like, I'm just like, oh man, this old man's so badass. He's the first to go, and he's gonna go real bad too.
I thought he was gonna go too.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's the first to go in the second. Because
yeah,
they're gonna put him up in the second
one. You can't kill Bass Reeves.
I'm just saying.
That's my question for y'all, because this has started coming up. Like, how do you all feel about the fact that like it's so loosely based? Like Bass Reeves is like the ultimate super cop in real life. You know, my man put his own son in jail. Like,
and
the Lone Ranger is like based off of
him.
Yeah.
So it's like they whitewashed him already, and this brings him back. But then it's like this brings him back as a corrupt cop, kind of like.
I mean, I felt like he was corrupt to the extent of, oh man,
I'm gonna be as corrupt as I can be to get the justice that I want.
Because his whole angle is what I didn't hear that Rufus got a pardon. I'm going after Rufus anyways.
Yeah,
Nat, you gonna come with me and we'll do this together.
That's the kind of corrupt I can live with.
Yeah,
but then you
not corrupt or not searching real justice.
Real life, you know, that's the only thing. Or like even more, it's like Stagecoach Mary, who is a big black older woman.
Yeah.
And they have, you know, young light skin. You know,
they kind of
the colorism conversation for this movie was a whole other.
Yeah, people got in on that.
Hollywood has to do something about, because like what's the other one that just came out? In the Heights is the other one that they were just like, how you're not gonna have any Afro Latin people at all, and then people were trying to defend it, and it's just like, guys, these are the things that we're talking about when we talk about being inclusive and working together. Even these small things get noticed. You know, like Harder They Fall is a great film. I as a black person, I appreciate the movie. I'm looking forward to more movies like this, you know, and it doesn't have to be a black film. It's just a good film that happens to star black people. But at the same time, when we're doing those things, could we put darker actresses or actors in certain roles, especially with someone that, you know, maybe if you want to play with the age a little bit on Coach Mary, sure, but you could have put a Jill Scott playing that role.
I still like Jen, but you know.
But or like, because did you guys got the link that I sent where they did the quote unquote prequel that a couple years ago, 7 years ago or something, that had Erykah Badu, Rosario Dawson, you know, had a whole bunch of people, and I was just like, oh, it's interesting that they did this with this crew back then, and that they were going to try and work towards something else this time. And what they could have done. And hopefully, like we said with the sequel, if he brings back some of those actors to play different roles in this next one. But I definitely think the colorism thing in Hollywood, they gotta start paying attention to it. And you know, I know black comes in all colors and shades, but at the same time, that doesn't mean like the fact that we say it comes in all shades is why we should be willing to show all shades.
Because for me, that wasn't like I saw that complaint early on, especially not even with the colorism, where people were just like, yo, these are our historical figures and they doing Bass Reeves wrong. And I'm like, well, at least they did Bass Reeves. You know, like,
true.
Like, geez, like, and that's the thing with white people, they'll do a movie and it'll be like, you know, Billy the Kid is now a superhero instead of a mass murdering scumbag that he was. You know, so I'm like, if they can do that, why can't we do that? You know, like, why can they be the only ones and be in it? But it does go into the fact that we have such limited opportunities. So when people are like, when we see Bass Reeves, they want to see Bass Reeves because we might not get another Bass Reeves movie.
True.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, let's get this wild version, and then maybe we do get it. You know, it's like also Bass Reeves put his son in jail. Like, I don't know if that dude was all, you know, maybe he doesn't need to be portrayed exactly how he was. Like,
Maybe.
I don't know what his son did, but Jesus, nigga, like. You gotta let something slide. Sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta let something slide.
That's true.
I'm
Like,
not
you guys
renting
think
out
of
my
the-
son, bro. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
know. It's so honor bound that you put your own son in prison.
Yeah,
No, that's a
fuck
little
outta
warped. Yeah, that's a little
Yeah.
nah.
That's deep.
I'm not.
That's
I
deep.
You must
prefer
have
this
hated your
past
son.
release, you know. Yeah.
What do we think of the side characters that we knew were gonna die right out of the beginning, that were part of the Red Hood gang?
Oh shit!
Oh,
all of them are great.
Damon Wayans Jr. and then
You
That's
ain't
who
sweet.
that was.
That shit. Who is the guy talking about? You ain't sweet. My mama
Yes.
said he's
Yeah.
sweet.
yeah, I don't.
He's so
That's-
good. I've
That's,
seen him in
that's
something
Woody.
before.
That's Woody the Great, though. That's he's a Instagram YouTube guy.
Okay.
Oh,
I know
okay.
him from Power, the book 2.
Yeah,
He-
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's on Power Book too. That's where I know him from.
yeah,
Okay,
that's where you
'cause-
know from. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I was like, I know this guy, but oh my
I know,
god,
right? I couldn't place him, but yeah, I mean, because when you watch him in book 2, he's kind of like this. He's Mary J. Blige's son, right? Like, the oldest-
Bobby Brown. Wait, that was Bobby Brown.
oh, is
Yeah.
that? Who? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
that same kid who played Bobby Brown. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
him. Oh
Yeah.
man, he's so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was funny. That whole interaction was.
Oh god, that was
hilarious.
great. Yeah.
But that's it.
And then he goes and says, "I'd rather die," and continue. And then you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, here we go."
Yeah, here we go.
He's
Yeah,
about to
here
die.
we go.
Legit famous last words.
Yeah, I love how they like they knew each other from childhood and Jim just shot him anyways.
Yeah,
Yo,
you know what I mean? Like,
You want to know how messed up that is? That it's literally, if we're gonna bring this to modern times, a lot of these kids who beef in the hood, a lot of them grew up together.
Yep.
And then at
Yeah.
some point, at like age 12, 13, 14, they kind of split off into different factions and somehow become ops and
Oh,
then
yeah,
face
too
each
real.
other in the streets. That was exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly
Too real,
what
Toby,
that
too real.
parallel
Yeah.
was.
that's that's growing up. That's growing up for real in the hood.
God.
that just makes me think of adventures of childhood now.
Oh man.
I told you guys about the
That's what it
Filipino.
was. Like
The
our
Filipinos I
moms
grew up
knew each
with.
other, and now we're shooting each other.
Do
Yeah.
tell me about those. I think you
I
did tell
told
me
you about the Filipinos. How like one day,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm walking down the street and there's a Filipino gang, and I'm just like, oh man. And then when I got close, I was like, oh, it's homeboy from church. And you're like, all right,
Exactly.
we good. I don't gotta worry too much.
Exactly.
The first two guys looked a little sketchy, but then homeboy from church was like, oh yo, that's Brian, we good. And then let me walk by, and I was like, all right.
Hey, what up, Nelson? We ain't gonna rob him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh
That's
shit, man.
crazy.
Oh
Dang.
man. I would like to say just overall, do you feel like we needed this movie?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool to see an all black Western for sure.
Mhm.
I think it was both needed in that aspect and in general. It was the first good cowboy movie since like 310 to Yuma, to be honest.
Mm.
Like if you taking away like like maybe
They're
Quentin
not in the same
Tarantino.
category. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
but
taking
they're
away
like
those
Western, yeah.
movies because those were like more like this is Quentin Tarantino's movie. He's just gonna he wants to make this type of movie. Like it's not making it for the genre because this in general was a good cowboy movie. Like the basic story, the plot twists, the action
Mhm.
scenes were ridiculous.
That's what I was saying, right? That's one of the things that I think I look forward to the most in Hollywood. It's not necessarily a black movie, it's a movie that happens to star black people.
That's
Mhm.
exactly what this is.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
this movie, like, I know some people are going to say, oh, well, it's a black Western. Yes, in the sense that all the leads and blah, blah, blah. Sure, I get that.
And it also touches on some aspects, but they don't dwell on
Yeah,
those
it's
things
not the only
to the
thing,
point
yeah.
where it's like preachy. It's not preachy at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's just how black
It's just
people
real
would
life.
be in these situations.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. That's why it's so great. And
Yeah.
I also like it because it also contains all those elements. Like it contains hip hop. Like somebody when I was talking about it, they were like, "Well, is it in the tradition of Sturgis and who's the one who did the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly,
Eddie
and
Westerns?
Peckinpah, and like they were naming all these white directors, and I was like, all those dudes are dope as fuck.
Yeah.
None of them could have done this movie, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
because they don't have that reference. They don't have that hip hop reference. They don't have that. I know a lot of people saying Tarantino, but I think it even goes further because I know the director is a super film head where it's like the old Grindhouse, the old blaxploitation,
Mhm,
which all had that super hyper realistic action, karate films. Which Tarantino, it's that same thing where Tarantino is just taking from all these different
Right.
people
Right.
And so I think that's what the Bullets did with this, James did with this, that it's like he just has all these different points of references. Like the shot when Shorty is shooting up a dude, and every time she shoots, it zooms in a little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, this motherfucker here, you know, like I'm watching that shit
nice.
again last night. I'm like, this motherfucker was really not playing with this movie. Like, you know, he really put his heart into this shit. And that's why I think it's not even that it's a Western, it's just that it's this dope revenge tale, you know, that is real, that is couched in the Western themes and stuff.
Can we talk about Cuffy for a second?
That's Cuffy
she's
was
amazing.
Cuffy was amazing.
Her little kiss with Mary at the end, and,
What?
and Mary's like, "What are you looking at?" Like,
Yeah.
I wish she would kissed her on the lips. Because that was like one of the things I didn't peep till the second time I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, she should have kissed her ass dead on the lips right there."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Cuffy wasn't playing.
Yeah. No, Cuffy wasn't playing. And Cuffy was based off of a real character, a real person
soldier.
too.
I had read.
A woman who posed as a male to enlist in the army. So it kind of like falls in line with the ending where she goes up with the marshal to be.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, right?
Cuffy needs her own flip. I need more Cuffy.
Yeah, her name was Cathay Williams, but she enlisted as William Cathay. It was like flipped her name.
I respect
it. And they picked the right actress to show that, you know, she could be androgynous, right?
Yeah.
Also, one thing I noticed is that like, there was quite a bit of like,
Danielle Deadweiler, I think is the name.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
just
I think so.
Fantastic.
There was, as I was listening, I was hearing a lot of Nigerian influence, like some of the sound, like words, like the rhythm. I was like, there's a lot of Nigerian, and then I looked into it, and the director is a Nigerian guy.
London, he's
Nigerian British. He's Seal's brother, the singer Seal.
Oh,
yeah.
And he's been a musician and a producer. The Bullets have done a lot of production work, so they've been around. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And there's an Afrobeat. They play all the Afrobeat during the fight sequences.
And like I was hearing, like I was like, is this my dad talking? You know, I hear like the words in the background, and then I realized like they use like songs from Fela. If you guys know what Fela is like jazz,
definitely
Nigerian. Yeah, he's
the greatest. The African James Brown. If people don't know Fela Kuti, they should.
Man. Yeah, and his son, bro. His son too is along the same.
Femi is another one. Yeah.
Femi, yeah.
And then they played that during the fight sequence. That was the jam for me, and I got to get that joint.
Wahala Day.
Yeah, I forgot what do you say? It means we came here to do. We're in this room to do this thing or something.
Yeah. I forget now, but they had some dope influences in this soundtrack. It was
hell yeah.
That's one of the things that I feel this movie, like you were saying, every element that brought the movie together was something that was special. And that's what was so much fun as watching it, because when you watched it, you know how we always say nowadays as a content creator, you know, you want to create your content, but you want to have different influences and you can like reuse your content here, there, and everywhere. This movie felt like they put all these pieces together, and then on the back end you could be like, okay, we're a bunch of Blerds, let's talk about the history of every single character, because that is something interesting we can do. Oh, you're a bunch of music fans, let's just talk about how we broke down all the music. You're a movie fan, oh, did you see this scene, and this scene? Like all those elements in one movie that were so thought out is something that makes it so special.
They give everything from everyone from the villain to the good people, like just the right amount of screen time, the right amount of story. You understood everyone's motivation. It was weird, but everyone actually got the right amount of screen time. Even Damon Wayans, a stupid ass character that I was annoyed with.
Dion Cole, perfect amount.
Dion Cole. Oh man.
Oh wait, that was Damon Wayans' son, right? Who's tied up.
He was Grimes, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And then obviously Dion Cole is Wiley, which was
he was fantastic.
Which is unfortunate for him.
But like you were saying, the perfect amount of screen time. You had him at that moment. You had him a little bit later when they catch him on his way out, and you had him towards the end. That's all you needed. You needed him sprinkled in at these special moments. And then even how he dies, you're just like, I mean, that I respect that scene.
Like the movie was like, to sum it up, it's like an amazing collaboration, a perfect example of a collaboration, and no one phoning it in. Like every aspect of what was happening in this movie was like it's like people knew that was going to be a good movie, and they were like, so I'm going to give it my best. Like, you know what I mean? It's I don't know what it was, but I would have loved to seen how the set was, how it would have been to be on set, because you could tell that people like like they went to work that day. You know, they put their best foot forward. So
I wonder what would have happened if like Sterling K. Brown and Cynthia Erivo were able to still be a part of the cast. Or Wesley Snipes, I think, too, was originally supposed to be part. Yeah, they're all three. I think there were some other people too, but then the pandemic caused some issues.
There'll be for
sequel then. Yeah,
I don't know who they were supposed to play though. I think Cynthia Erivo might have been Stagecoach Mary, if I'm not mistaken. Which there you go with the darker skin, you know.
Yeah. Still very small, but yeah.
I briefly want to
Tuffy, whichever one.
I briefly just want to mention now that I'm looking back and thinking to myself, the two times where you could kind of see that certain characters are evil are for Cherokee Bill when he's supposed to be squaring up with somebody like
he cuts his ass.
Right? Okay, so when he's supposed to square up with someone, my man ducks and he becomes Trudy with the perfect handoff. He just gets a knife, slit guys on the ground. Then you see that again when Rufus is facing off against Homeboy in town square, and again goes for a punch. He leans back, grabs the gun, and just like gun butts the shit.
Gun butts the shit out.
I was like, whoa! But also, I'm just like, look at these perfect handoffs. Like, how are you so in sync with somebody on
Trudy is just on it, yo. Trudy is always ready.
Yo, dude,
just like, here you go.
They've killed a lot of people, man. That's really all it is.
Like you get really good at it at a certain point. You start to each other's cadences. You're shooting someone, you're like, this is where he needs the knife. Here, you're shooting someone, you know? Like,
crazy this. It's legit like, okay, we gonna square up and then
they're counting bullets, man. Like they know what's going on.
Yeah.
When Nat and Mary were doing the back-to-back in the
stop.
I was like, push and they go back like
that was good. In those times, I would have been a dope ass gunman because I know your bullets are finite. So I'm hiding, I'm counting how many shots you took. Which is what they ended up doing at the end. They waited until everybody ran out of bullets, and then they came out with their own. Like, why don't people do that? Actually, there'd be no fight if that was the case. But everyone's just waiting. Here's my one. Where's their one?
Yeah,
okay, that's one.
But then then it becomes like blackjack with card counters. You're just like
exactly
all that fun.
Exactly.
This motherfucker knows how to count the deck.
Oh man, great. That was a great movie. I think I watched it right after we talked about it on Wednesday. Last week, couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, because we said we were gonna. Definitely.
Yeah.
Super dope. I look forward to the sequel. I mean, like we said, we saw the ending. We see the hand. We see someone survived. We see Trudy in that last shot. So that's and I respect that setup. That like, oh, it's not over. There's gonna be more in this world, and that's cool.
Really cool.
Oh, I had to ask you guys real quick. Until Rufus shot at the ground in that last scene with him and Nat, did you think he was setting Nat up to kill him? Like he was playing him by telling him the story of the brother and the father?
Yeah, take a cheap shot.
Yeah, because that's 100% what I thought was happening. I didn't think for a second they were actually brothers. I was just like, Nat, please don't tell me you're stupid enough to fall for this. But then when he had the chance and Nat turned his back for him to shoot the ground, I was just like, either he's really playing this up or he's about to genuinely kill
for real.
Like, yeah, you don't think that they're supposed to be brothers? You think he was lying to him?
I did until that moment. Until from when Nat walks in and Rufus is sitting at the table and starts telling the story, I thought 100% Rufus is doing this to buy time and to distract.
Oh no, I would know. As soon as like
you thought, okay,
before he walked in, I was like, wait a minute, how are they gonna fix with that opening scene? I'm like, this movie's coming to an end. Fair. So I'm like, how do they reconcile with that opening scene?
Yeah.
So as soon as he starts telling the story, I'm like, oh fuck, that's how, they're brothers. Okay.
Yeah. I actually legit was like, they're brothers, and he's just like, we're brothers. I'm like, god damn it.
Yeah.
Because then you're also like, wait, how the fuck old is Idris's character now?
That was the thing that kind of, I was just like, how old is Idris's character?
If he's like 50, then Nat Love's like, what, 19?
Yeah.
I don't,
it works out,
Black don't crack. We know. Black don't crack. I say,
let her slide. You let her slide.
I definitely let that slide because I'm just like, all right, so if your son can come revisit you, find you in your house, shoot you and your new wife, and then carve a cross in his little brother's head, you got to be like 30.
Yeah.
So that means your dad went buck and probably killed your mom when you were like 10. So first of all, how old is Reverend Daddy?
Yeah.
They base this entirely on Black Don't Crack. They should make all this movie Black Don't Crack.
That
But
might
they
have
should
to be
just
the
like,
title. That might have to be the title.
They
Like,
the
just
harder
put
they
it in
fall, the skin don't crack. You know,
Yeah.
same difference. Like, you know,
We haven't had an episode that's called that. I might have to look at that archives.
Have we? I don't think so.
Yeah,
They
to
base
look.
this entirely on Black Don't Crack. That sounds like
Oh, that's too long of a title. I was just saying Black Don't Crack. Do we? I know we're pretty much running out of time here, but we probably should address this. The latest leak for Far From Home before this week is over, because this is like a major thing that came out just a day ago.
Do you want to do it in the Geek News? Let's do it in Geek News.
Yes, sir. Let's do
Run
it.
it up.
All right, kids, you know what time it is.
Oh shit.
Geek News and
All right.
Rumors. End of the show. We got 15 minutes to go. Let's go.
I will share what I have here.
All these.
Don't show me that shit.
I hate this rumor.
What are you doing now?
It's not a rumor. It's not a rumor. Okay.
Oh boy.
Here's why.
So if this is true, I'm just gonna say I was right all along.
We were all right.
All I'm gonna
This is the
say.
most Photoshop thing I've ever seen in my life.
Guys,
I'm tired of this.
Wire is
I'm
not
tired.
that small. Okay, go
let
ahead.
me explain. All right, we have John Campea. You see his tag on the photo there, right?
Yeah, Canadian.
Now he leaked these two images,
Yeah.
thinking that they were potentially fake or not, and he was just like,
He
you know
did
what,
not.
I'm
He's
just
a
gonna put it out
fucking
there.
liar.
Right,
I
that's
know,
what
right?
he's saying.
Yeah.
But then apparently he got a call from Sony shortly afterwards, telling him to take or someone or a source saying that like these are potentially like real images from the set and to take them down. So there's this one, and then there's where is the other one?
I just like to point out though, him spinning tales of stories doesn't prove anything. By the way, it just adds to his clout.
Yeah.
And then there's this one.
Yeah,
but everyone has been guessing about this being the setup for this scene already.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I gotta say though, these look really photoshopped to me. Like
what?
The other one,
I don't think so.
The other one looks photoshopped to me. Like,
okay, so you want to know why it looks photoshopped? It's because it's potentially behind a green screen. And when you take a photo of something like that, it could potentially look like it is, right? Because it's not necessarily in its pure in its like finished form. I believe
someone
these
took
images.
a picture of 3 people standing in front of a green screen with the green screen image filled in.
No. Someone took a picture
of
an unfinished, of a screen of an unfinished movie, whatever editing. It doesn't look that fake, man. I'm sorry.
No,
it doesn't look that fake.
Tobey Maguire, though. I've seen Tobey recently. They must have photoshopped his whole body too, because that's not how. Tobey Maguire does not look that way anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
He ain't fitting in that suit.
No, he ain't fitting in that suit like that. Tobey Maguire is a dad now.
What do you mean?
Tobey Maguire has dad bod. You want me to say it? I'm trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice with it.
Listen. Sure, you could probably even CGI this. To be honest, why not? Make his stomach a little flatter than usual.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm just saying, when I saw this picture the first time, I was just like, wow, that's some good photoshopping of heads onto people. Because that, to me, genuinely.
Yeah, that one doesn't look good to me.
The other one, that one talks as Matt Murdock. You might have me. I might be more inclined to believe that one.
That one just feels weird because like, why is Matt still wearing that same suit?
Yeah,
Matt's blind. Matt's blind.
I don't mean you can't buy another suit. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
he has the exact same suit in 10 different friggin' like. He's got like 10 of the same suit. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, Froggy is not a good friend if he's letting him roll around out here in the same suit, looking like he don't know what dry cleaning is. Can't buy another one. Like, get out of here.
That is.
I don't know. Yo,
but I'm excited for this. It makes me even more pumped to prove you wrong. About
you never prove me wrong because I've said from the beginning. I've said from Ben. I've been telling them from the beginning. I don't believe that this many people are going to show up in the movie because I think making a movie with that many characters showing up would be a mistake.
You saw Endgame and Infinity.
Yeah, you just saw Endgame and Infinity where you're bugging.
I
disagree, homeboy.
Calling out immediately.
There's a big difference between building up for 20 movies and giving after 3 movies, you're going to introduce every villain Spider-Man's ever dealt with, every Spider-Man that's ever existed. Like that to me seems.
I don't know if Sandman, Venom, all those people are showing up. That I have doubts.
I said
about.
that.
That's what I've been saying.
No,
But
there's
I have
definitely
Spider-Man.
4.
There's at
There's
least
definitely
4 or
4.
5. I don't think we're seeing all 6. I've stuck with that.
No,
too.
there's a movie poster out where they clearly show Doc's tentacles,
Yep.
the electricity, Sandman, and Green
But the
Goblin.
electricity
That's
and the sand
4.
could just be
That's it.
electric and sand in the
Oh,
background.
but let's
People
be honest. Come on. I mean, are we
Bullshit,
being
right.
naive here?
No,
like,
they
let's
were-
be
those were confirmed.
serious.
Those were
Like, come on.
confirmed.
I don't want to be mean. I know we just met, but I don't want to call it. But let's be honest
Ben,
here.
I mean, but it's like
But
I
Ben,
don't-
you're the perfect middle ground because every week I say the same thing you're saying, but these
Yeah.
guys call me an idiot. But you're more hopeful than I am. I think.
yeah, I would hope they do it.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
I want to, Sandman from that dude who played Sandman
Yeah.
murdered that
Wasn't-
shit.
wasn't
Yeah,
that
sure.
was like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just said that last week too.
I'd love to
rewatched
see my
Spider-Man 3
man's
recently.
come back as Venom for that matter. What's his
Topher?
name? Yes,
Topher Grace?
Topher.
Oh
was
my God,
amazing.
really?
Oh my god, this is a
Okay,
can of
okay,
worms.
all right.
Oh my god.
Hey, I
Okay,
love
that
Topher.
one.
But
That
I
one we might
love
not.
Garfield. I think Garfield is great. I think
Yeah.
Toby is,
I
I
like
like Toby, whatever, but
You know what? I would like to see Topher Grace come back just so the new Venom can eat him. I just want to
Nah,
insert that joke now.
that's disrespectful. I like Topher because to me, Venom should always be the parallel to Spider-Man, like the evil version. And so Topher being like slim and still being like nerdy and geeky and then
Yeah,
evil
that's
was hilarious to me. Like,
Fair.
I see
Fair,
that angle.
fair.
yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
I know.
Brat version. I like the new one too, but it's like that was just hilarious that when they cast him, I don't know if the movie was that good with him, but when they cast him, I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Because it's like Topher is the evil Toby, it's like
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that shit was, it might not
That's
have worked out
actually-
how it worked
That's
out in
a
my
good
head.
title
That
right
is-
there.
Yeah.
But when they
Evil
cast him, I was
Toby.
like,
That
oh,
might
that's
be it.
fucking comedy, like. And then I just love how Topher looks all crazy in that movie. It's so funny, like yeah. But no, if they do okay, so that let's see the Sandman from that. Who'd you just say? We got Green Goblin,
Green
Pinnacles, and
No, Mike.
Jamie is in there. Jamie we know is in there.
yeah.
Mike, I
So
can't
you're missing
consider-
maybe Venom and
We just got a comment. Consider the previous 5 Spider-Man movies as build-up. I can't consider movies outside of the canon of the universe that a whole generation of kids haven't seen.
they
It-
have seen.
build-up.
But it was
Yeah,
was
they
not
have seen.
canon, and now it's going to be
It's
canon.
canon.
That's-
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why, and that's why I like it. I
Why are
think
you
yeah.
so?
James
why are
Bond
you so
this shit,
against
dude. That's what they're doing.
What's
They're James
happening?
Bonding it. It's
Bad
great.
idea. I've told you guys.
Great.
I
No,
genuinely think it's a
James
bad idea.
Bond. Just
Oh, no, I
do
love it.
James Bond.
Just like I
Yeah.
want Wesley
I-
Snipes to be in the new Blade joint. Like I need
Dude.
it to fuck
Yeah,
Oh my
happen.
God.
Yo,
Okay.
I'd be down for that.
Yes.
I'd be down
Let's
for that.
Let's talk Eternals next week because there are
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah,
of
I
things
saw
that
it,
we
I saw
definitely
it.
need
Yeah.
to address.
Remember when
100%.
Remember when we saw the list that AVN released and Eternals was number 21?
Yeah.
That's where it's supposed to be. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I agree.
You smoking
You gotta-
I
big
just want
crack.
to talk about the post-credit
What?
scene. There's only one post-credit
Oh
scene.
my
I only
God,
want to
the
talk about the last
disrespect.
post-credit screen.
I
That's all
put it
I'm
in my
gonna
top
say.
5, honestly, dog. I will
Top
I-
5?
so I can't put
top 7. Like
Okay, yeah,
All right, let's
that
see.
quickly changed. Out of
Infinity
that,
War,
pushing him
Endgame,
up.
Black Panther, just because Iron Man 3, and y'all can fight me all day.
okay, yeah,
Oh,
we went.
oh
on
my
we
God,
went on
no,
the
I
go.
can't.
Wow.
Y'all ain't ready.
I
Y'all
I
ain't
gotta
ready.
leave.
I will
I gotta
will make
leave.
up
I
Iron
gotta
Man
leave. I got problems. I gotta leave.
Yeah, and I will show you. I mean,
No, it's okay. It just means that you have to come back on the show, and I'm going to address this
Iron Man 3 is
immediately.
easily-
There will be no hellos.
I will say
It's
that
gonna
to
be
the camera,
proven.
Iron Man 3 is easily
Oh,
the
no.
best Iron
We're-
Man without a doubt. It's
Oh,
We're
no.
getting a chalkboard out.
It's
Now
like-
we're getting
it's
a
like-
chalkboard out with points.
It leaps and bounds. The only reason why Iron Man 1 is considered so great is because it's like the
the
first to
intro.
do it well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange and every other movie that's copied this formula has shown it's not that difficult. Iron Man 3 is different. It's not.
I like
the
this
other
angle.
movies.
I wish we could argue this.
It has
angle all day.
a
We will
a
when he
smart
comes
kid
back.
in it who
Yeah.
gets disrespected by the hero instead of being like, oh, let's show this cute little kid. Iron Man leaves that motherfucker out in the cold. It twists everything that you needed about the Mandarin, which should have been twisted. And Ben Kingsley is amazing.
Oh,
I don't get people's
Ben
problem
Kingsley's
with
good.
it.
Yeah,
I think
really don't get
people's
it.
problem with it is the fact that it didn't end up being the real thing, and I think
Oh,
that
well.
itself took, right. I think that
They
itself
do
is
the
what
same.
took.
Oh,
Dave
it's not my
Dave's having a heart
comments.
attack because
Fuck
Dave
outta
has
here.
been David been so
Oh my
bad
God.
about
This
that.
man had rings, dog, and he walked around in a Speedo. It would have looked like the most dumb shit.
I
in
don't
the
want
world.
the I don't want the suit, dude. I don't care about the
I'm
suit.
the biggest fan of Mandarin.
my
It
God.
would never work.
Okay,
Great.
I need time to prepare for this.
You
This-
ain't
I'm gonna
ready.
get
Iron Man
notes.
is incredible.
No,
It's
we gotta
second-
have
Oh
you
my
back, man.
God.
We gotta have you
Oh.
back
It's
to
like,
have this
you know how I know you're
discussion.
cold? Because we're connected, and drives off on that kid. Like, fuck outta here.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's Tony
That's
Stark at his
amazing.
most Tony Stark ever.
Oh my
It's so good.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
liking
can't,
this
I can't.
angle.
I can't right now. You're not gonna. I can't right now. I can't.
And
Okay.
Eternals is easily right up there. Like, I'm 21.
Man, I
What?
Dude,
So wait,
I saw the movie last night.
What's the worst? Wait. What's the two top worst of Marvel of the
Easily
26?
Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thor: The
Okay.
Dark World. We can all say that.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's like, but that's what I mean. Marvel is like, they're like Pixar. It's like saying, what's the worst Pixar movie? Like,
True.
are they really that bad? You know, that's the
True.
thing. It's like, it's
They're
not
competing.
really.
They're competing against themselves at this
These
point.
motherfuckers
It's like,
know what they're doing. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yo,
like, yeah.
People have kids, right? But they always have a favorite kid. Like, let's be honest.
I don't like Captain Marvel. I've never seen Captain Marvel twice.
neither have I.
A lot.
I said the same thing last week, and people chose not to jump on that.
And
On
I
that
keep
train
wanting
of
to
me
watch
saying
it.
Captain Marvel wasn't my favorite.
I like Captain Marvel. I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
But I'll say this.
Ah,
I'll
I like
say,
her. I don't like that movie.
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
Marvel's worst movie is still better than DC's best movie.
100%.
That's trying to get.
Ooh.
That's trying
From
to
the DCEU right now, what would you say is the best DCEU film?
Yeah, I
Man
wanna
of
hear-
Steel.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Man of Steel. Yeah.
Man of
Man of
Steel
Steel's better
definitely
than Thor:
beats
The Dark
Thor.
World.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Easy. Like, let's be serious. Like,
It
you're saying
is.
Wonder Woman is worse than Thor?
Wonder
You're
Woman
saying
84
Wonder
is
Woman's
a
worse than
blemish
Thor.
on humanity. So there's no like, yeah.
Thor: Dark
Wonder
World.
Woman 84
Thor:
is
Dark
worse
World.
than
The
everything.
first Wonder Woman is good until
Yes.
you get to the third act. I told you, I say
Yeah,
it
third
every
act.
time.
I
Every
agree.
time you get to the third act, I can't watch the rest of the movie. It gets me so mad
Yeah.
to know that you had the opportunity, you're at the finish line, and then you just fumbled the fuck out of it. And not even just that, you tripped everyone else.
I
What
don't
about-
say they fumbled it though, like until 84. Wonder Woman
Yeah,
84
there
is
you
like,
go.
oh, what were you like? Oh my God, y'all don't get this at all.
Here's what it is. Wonder Woman 84 is an onside kick return attempt, and then they just fuck that whole up. Where the team just comes and kicks the ball, and
I
they
don't
kick
even
it
think
from
there's a sports limit. It's like you up by,
Wonder Woman is the exact opposite of it is everyone phoning it in. That is what everyone
Yeah.
that's the example of
Yeah,
everyone
so
phoning it in.
bad. It's
'Cause
so
that
like-
cast-
It's the
could've
Atlanta
delivered.
Falcons being up 28-3 against the New England Patriots and then losing at the end of the game in the fourth
Jeez
quarter.
and ages. Bro.
That's exactly what that was.
That's
No, I can't even give it that. And I'm from Houston.
that.
We had to collapse against the Buffalo Bills, and it ain't even. It's worse than that.
yeah,
Like, no,
yeah.
Yep.
no, 'cause
Yep.
that movie like disrespects women. You know, it's like if Black Panther
Jeez.
disrespected Black people. It's
Yeah.
like it is so wild
It
that
was
that
bad.
movie
It
got
was bad.
made.
It was bad. It was
Yeah,
kinda bad.
I'm down to talk Eternals, man. I mean, like I said, to me, the problem with Eternals for me is it's not that it's not a bad movie. It's actually a good movie. It just wasn't interesting to me, and that's
But
what.
isn't
I
it
agree.
great though that Marvel is doing something different?
Sure,
I think,
Yeah.
Sure.
I actually like the fact that they had the courage to swing for something else, so that we're not.
Yeah.
Because at
Yes,
some point,
yes.
people were
Yeah.
saying they're pretty formulaic, like
Yeah.
DJ was just saying, right?
Yeah,
Like
if
Ben
you're
was just
if
saying,
you're
yeah.
asking me if it's a good movie, yes. Is it an interesting movie? Did I feel entertained at the end? No, that's the
No.
problem.
Wow.
And part of it is also
Damn.
just Marvel looking at DC and being like, hey, we could do Superman better than you in regards to some of the action scenes and stuff. It's like
and they did.
Yeah.
And they did.
That's really what they did. That's all it
All
was.
right, okay.
Because we could do
We-
Marvel,
we-
like,
we-
you know.
We gotta save this for next week.
I'll
Gotta
say
say
this.
this.
I love like the characters in Eternals more than I love now some of the people who've been around since the
Yes.
beginning of the MCU. I relate to them more.
Yeah,
Athena and Gilgamesh are my heart. Like,
yo.
you know, it's like that is like the
OTP. Those two, like I the whole time I was watching those two together.
Yeah,
I remember I was holding my girl's hand, and you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I held her hand and squeezed it when it happened, and I was just like, "That's my boy," and I was so mad.
Yeah,
but I think you know.
Well, what else did you need then? That's what I'm saying, man. And then they had Makari and Druid, and then they had like this shit is fucking dope.
Scenes like that.
I like the speed the depiction.
Oh
Makari.
my god, Makari was so sick.
Yeah.
He was amazing. But that's
I need to see this movie. Apparently.
Again, all the characters amazing. The acting amazing, cinematography, all that stuff. But when I get to did I like the story overall? No, I found
they had Celestials.
I think on like a second or a third rewatch, your mind might change a little bit.
Yeah, because
that's what I feel with this movie. I think like just because of what we're so used to, Marvel has given us so much amazing content that if it really isn't where if we don't get that feeling, we don't think it's a good movie. Like automatically it doesn't fall. But like I think there's a lot here that sets up a lot for the future as well, for the next phase.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
That's something we can all
I made my comments based on the fact of how many times I yawned and looked at my watch to see how much
yeah, we saw different joints.
Yeah, we saw
it twisted, but I love that shit.
Damn. Well, we're talking about this for sure.
You saw the eye first, and then you see the chest, and then you see this giant. Like, come on, Aaron.
I agree with all the cinematography was great, but story.
And then Thanos's reasons start to make a bit more sense.
Yep.
Like for doing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But anyway, we'll talk about that.
The story, like
we have to talk about it.
Like, nah.
Gilgamesh is a dope character, and all the connections to mythology. You guys know I'm a mythology fan, so that shit really hit me. Like as a deep head mythology fan.
Like,
but we gotta say,
I always hated Sprite, and I loved her. That one line she said in this film is like, nah, man, I don't know.
Fire alarm somewhere.
Sorry, something's happening in my kitchen. Apparently,
your house is burning.
All right. And on that alarm, we know it's time to go, folks.
Your house is burning down.
Things are getting so hot here. We gotta go, guys. We had a fucking blast. You see the link at the bottom right there for allnerds.com. Check them out. Yo, man.
On all the interwebs, everywhere, social, everywhere, at For All Nerds, Instagram, Twitter. Please hit us up. We there.
And if you go to the website, at the bottom of the website has the link to all their socials too. So go check that out. And if you want to just like, I'm on the site right now. It's just so much fun to look at all this stuff. So much content. So go check it out, homie. Man, thank you, Skinny.
Ben, thank you for coming through. I mean, I thank you because I know
problem,
you got enough going through. So this was just an experience to bringing the For All Knows world and the Geektastic Cypher world together. Canada US Connect. So I mean, hopefully we
definitely got to do some more stuff together, man. Thank y'all for having me. This was very fun.
Always.
It's awesome.
Yeah, y'all really dope, man. I like what y'all doing. So keep it up.
We'll get you back for another Eternals or something.
Oh yeah, we might have to have you back.
Oh no. There's an Iron Man and Spider-Man debate happening.
We got to talk about that.
We ain't talking about anything else. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have real wild opinions about like
Topher Grace is good. Iron Man 3 is amazing.
Oh my god.
Ben Kingsley shouldn't be the real Mandarin, some bum off the street. I have questions.
Oh my god, Ben Kingsley is so good at that shit. He's like, that's just so funny.
Crazy.
I was so happy in the theater because I knew how people would be so mad.
Kids, we will be back next week with another one. Make sure you check out all our socials at Geektastic Cypher. You know the deal. We are out, y'all. Appreciate you.
Deuces.
Peace.